Welcome to lesson 5. Welcome to lesson 5 of our course. The topic is employability skills, and today we shall be talking about plan and organize work. How to plan and organize work. You realize that some of the issues we discuss here are self-explanatory. However, if you listen to them fully, you will get to understand there is a new way that things are done, especially in the modern world. It is unlike how things used to happen before. Nowadays, most things happen using computer systems, unlike how things used to happen in the previous years. You realize that before we used even to make schedules by just word of mouth. That you report tomorrow, and you report tomorrow too, and you to the following day, and you tomorrow be enough. But nowadays we have to put it into a schedule properly using a computer. Then we print it so that everybody can see the plan of work. This is how work is planned. Nowadays, things happen in a very different way. So it is important that we grow with technology, that we grow with the computer world, that we grow understanding that planning work and organizing work is something that is now done through computer systems or through technological systems. As we start today, we are going to be talking about planning work and organizing work, and this is lesson 5. You can see we have already done conducting self-management. If you remember the lessons about vision, mission statement, goals, objectives, self-management, anger management, emotional management, and then we have also spoken about demonstrating interpersonal communication, where we said communication is very important at the workplace. And then we have also said demonstrate critical safe work habits, where we spoke about avoiding going to work while intoxicated under the influence of drugs, where we spoke about developing healthy relationships, where we also spoke about other issues related to HIV, other issues related to being time conscious, good time management. Those are some of the issues we spoke about, how to demonstrate critical safe work habits. And then we also spoke about leading a workforce team. And then we say it is about also planning work and also organizing work and leading people, holding meeting, holding briefings. So this is one of our leading by example. And then now we are talking about plan and organize work. And then we shall go to maintaining growth and development. And then we shall talk about demonstrating workplace learning. And then we shall also talk about demonstrate problem solving skills, and then manage workplace ethics. These are some of the topics that we are going to cover as we move on. The focus for today is to develop skills, knowledge, and the right behavior for planning and organizing work, identification and interpretation of task requirements, organization of work with other personnel involved, and mobilization and allocation of resources to meet project goals. We are also going to talk about monitoring and evaluation of work activities, documenting a work plan, review of work, and time management at the workplace. Those are some of the issues that we are going to be discussing today. Introduction. We have said the focus is on skills, knowledge, and the right behavior for planning and organizing work. And we have also spoken about monitoring, evaluation of work activities, documenting work plan, review of work, and time management. And then now we are going to talk about some of the definitions, like, for example, a task. What is a task? A task is the smallest identifiable essential piece of a job. A task is just an identifiable small piece of a job that serves as a unit of work and as a means of differentiating between various components of a project. A task, for example, if there is the overall scheduling program. So one of the tasks under the scheduling program is to take into account that we are going to do plan the schedule weekly. So the entire schedule for the whole month, that is the entire schedule for the month work plan. But the simplest task amongst the entire schedule is the plan for a week or the plan for a day. That is a task. Then work activities is a systematic, purposefully corporate human action where several actors work in an organized manner on a shared object of work to transform it to intended outcome. Work activities. Then there is work plan. It is a roadmap. Work plan is a roadmap detailing the work that is to be done from the beginning to the end. So work plan is a roadmap detailing the work that is to be done from the beginning to the very end. Then we say identifying task requirements. How do you identify task requirements? These are the collection of physical, functional, mental, and administrative needs that should be covered by the assigned resources. What should be considered in identifying task requirements is, for example, the type of tasks required, the instruction words in the task, the components of the task, the scope of the task, and this will enable you to come up with the needed requirements for the completion of tasks by the workplace objectives. So this is identifying tasks, what needs to be done. For example, you are a supervisor, you are a security manager, then you have to identify what needs to be done, and that's what we call types of task requirements. What needs to be done about this requirement, and what are the instructions about these requirements, and what are the components of the task. For example, component of the task will be to move one object from one area to the other area. That is part of the component. The movement is part of the component. And then the scope of the task. What is the scope of this task? So those are some of the ways what we call identifying task requirements. And then task is interpretation safety. These are the details on how a task is going to be accomplished. These are the safety issues surrounding the task that is going to be accomplished. Task means specific work assignment. Task interpretation safety is an integration which helps give the accepted safety and health principles and practices into particular task of operation. Especially when we talk about task interpretation safety, these issues are mostly discussed under occupational health and safety, whereby before you carry an object, you have to use what we call body mechanics. How do you bend your knees? How do you keep your back straight to avoid straining your back, to avoid back injury? Are you wearing safety shoes? Are you wearing safety gloves? Are you wearing safety goggles? What kind of personal protective equipment are you using? So that is what we call interpretation safety, task interpretation safety. You interpret the safety surrounding the task that you are supposed to be performing, including ergonomics. Ergonomics is the conditions of work, how you sit, how you operate. Are you operating from the sun or from heavy rain? What is there cover? Is there a guard post? These are some of the issues we talk when we discuss ergonomics, which is also related to occupational health and safety. Steps of task interpretation. Selecting the task to be interpreted, breaking the task down into sequence of steps, identifying potential hazards, determining preventive measurements to overcome these hazards. So those are some of the steps of task interpretation. You have to select the task to be interpreted. Then you have to break the task down into sequence of steps. Then you have to identify potential hazards. And then you have to determine preventive measurements to overcome these hazards. Organizing work activity. Organizing work activity. Planning and organizing work makes use of time at the office more effective. Organizing work activities and projects ensures you tackle all necessary steps to success. The following steps help to organize work activities. The following steps help to organize work activities. Step number 1, identify the scope and goals of planning process related to each of the work activities. So step number 1 is to identify the scope and goals of planning process related to the work. So step number 1 is to identify the scope and goals. And then step number 2 is to break down the major tasks for this activity into smaller steps that are needed to be taken for completion. And then step number 4 is to establish the timeline for completing the work activity, and then write each due date for the assigned work on the calendar, or set up reminders that pop up when the deadline approaches. So number 1, you have to identify the task, the scope and goals. Number 2, you have to break down the major tasks. Number 3, you have to establish the timeline. Number 4, you have to write each due date for the assigned work on the calendar. Please write these steps down, because these steps are very, very important to you, for you to learn how to organize and plan work. Number 1, the scope and goals. For example, let's talk about the schedule, the timetable for the department. Number 1, the scope and schedule, the scope and goals. Scope and goals is to ensure that you have a timetable, at least by when by 30th of every month, so that on first of each starting month, everybody knows their schedule. So the scope and goal is to ensure that we have a timetable, whole timetable, that contains specific tasks. Break down the major tasks. For example, break down the major tasks. You will have to remember that you have to remember off days, you have to remember day shift coverage, you have to remember night shift coverage, you have to remember there will be some public holidays that have to be catered for. You have to remember there are some people who are going for leave. You have to remember there are some people who are going for maternity leave. So that is breaking down the major tasks for the activity into smaller steps that are needed to be taken for completion. So before you put down the timetable together, the schedule, you know that this is how we are going to cover day shift. We need this number of people. Afternoon, we need this number of people. Night shift, we need this number of people. We have these two number of people going for vacation. We have these two number of people going for maternity leave. We have these two people going for off days every Saturday. We have these two people going for class every Friday. So those are some of the tasks inside the entire timetable. And then you have to establish timeline. What is the timeline? Timeline, as I have said, it is that I have to complete this timetable by at least 28th of every month, so that by 1st of the starting month, everybody knows their schedule. And then write down those due dates somewhere on a piece of paper, stick it on your computer, laptop, or on your desk, and then or mark on the calendar. Set up that on 28th, I have to submit the timetable to my security manager, or to the general manager, or to the HR office for approval. Those are some of the issues we call that are needed, very important in planning and organizing work. Take that into consideration. Another issue also that we have not mentioned is identify potential problems or barriers that may surface for the work activity. Potential problems. For example, you might find that when you are doing the scheduling that there is one day you have an extra number of people in the morning and you do have nobody in the afternoon. Or you have a very large number of people for the day, but for the night shift, you don't have coverage. Those are some of the problems. How are you going to cover them? Other problems, you find that there's a conflict, that is 7 people need off days on the same day. Then you find that you lack manpower. That is a problem. So identify potential problems or barriers that may surface for the work activity. Then schedule planning meetings when active participation and feedback is needed. You might call the team to discuss the way forward on that. We have to factor in off days this way, so that we cover the shifts successfully. And then send out regular updates and communication to all other employees who are working. And then by following these steps, the work activities will be organized and the work will flow as expected without any delay. That is a very simple 7 steps. Read those 7 steps, keep them in mind. Read those 7 steps and keep them in. So those are some of the steps that you need to be able to plan and organize work. In fact, that's the major part for this presentation for today. That is the major part for this presentation for today. So keep that one in mind. Moving on, we are also going to look at some of the resources, utilizing, allocating, and mobilizing resources. The importance of looking into this is that as you're moving into management, you will be responsible also for resource allocation, resource utilization, and resource mobilization. So you have to keep these things also in mind. And resource allocation is setting aside the resources that are needed for completion of a task. Resource utilization, on the other hand, is the process of strategically measuring how effective resources are used. And then resource mobilization is all the activities that are involved in securing new additional resources for the organization. So this one is very important because when you come into management, you will be responsible for budgeting, you will be responsible for resource mobilization, you will be responsible for resource utilization, you will be responsible for resource allocation to ensure that the organization doesn't run shortages or doesn't go into wastages because you are a security professional or you are in another department, and your number one responsibility, your employer, is to safeguard your employer from material and financial losses. So you have to control how resources are used, how resources are utilized within your department or within the entire organization. So those are some of the words that we shall be talking about. We shall be talking about the importance of resource mobilization, ensures the continuation of organization service, supports organizational stability, allows for improvement and scale up of products and services. It is a way of greeting new business to stay in business. So creating new business to stay in business. So that is the importance of resource mobilization, bringing resources forward, that we need these resources to be able to run our department. We need stationaries, we need computers, we need desks, we need finances, we need uniforms. These are the resources that we need to effectively run our department. And then also we say benefits of resource planning. It maintains productivity. Work is managed with proper visibility, reducing risk oversights. Using resources to maximize the potential ensures specific resources are not being over underutilized, over or underutilized. And then resource utilization, allocation, and mobilization serve the purpose of managing the resources that may be available for use to gain maximum while reducing wastage. So those are some of the benefits of resource planning. Maintains productivity, work is managed with proper visibility and reducing oversights, using resources to maximize the potential, etc. Keep also. So those are the benefits of resource planning. You can also think out of the scope and also think on your own. What are the other benefits of resource planning? What are the other benefits of resource planning? Think out of the box, and you can also add some additional points on that. And then let's also talk about monitoring and evaluating work activities. Monitoring and evaluating work activities is also very important, because if work is not monitored, if work is not evaluated, then you will not know whether you are making progress, whether you are succeeding. Monitoring is the routine collection and analysis of information to track progress against set plans and check compliance to established standards. An evaluation is an assessment of an ongoing or completed project of work. An evaluation is an assessment of an ongoing or project of completed work. Evaluation happens when the work has been completed or when the project is complete. The aim is to determine the effectiveness of the strategy used. It involves identifying and reflecting upon the effects of what has been done and judging their work. Monitoring is a routine part of the employee and employer relationship. Most employees make some checks on the quantity and the quality of work produced by either staff. So this one is very, very important. Monitoring and evaluating. Monitoring happens as the work is ongoing, but evaluating happens when the project is done. Project is completed. You have completed the timetable, so now we want to evaluate and see whether it is effective. Do we have enough manpower for the day and for the night, the entire month? Have we catered for off days? Have we catered for leaves? Have we catered for public holidays? Have we catered for other requests? This is what we call now evaluating, to check whether it is really what is required to be. And that is why, if you are a supervisor, or if you are a security officer, you are assigned the duties of formulating the timetable for the next month. You will complete it, and then you will submit it to your security manager for approval. Approval means he will conduct evaluation to confirm that the timetable will serve the intended purpose, that it is on point, it will meet the objectives, and the department is going to run successfully the entire month. Ways of monitoring at work: create a written explanation of the work policies, make sure employees are aware of the policies, follow disciplinary guidelines exactly, and keep policies within reason. So monitoring, go back to following of policies, what is required to be done, and how is it supposed to be done. And then we say advantages of monitoring and evaluating. It provides the only consolidated source of information showcasing projects. It contributes to transparency and accountability. It reveals mistakes and offers paths for learning and improvements. It provides basis for questioning and testing assumption. It provides a way to assess the crucial link between implementers and beneficiaries on the ground and decision makers. Those are some of the advantages of monitoring and evaluating. So those are some of the advantages of monitoring and evaluating. And then also we talk about documenting job planning. Under organizing and planning work, we talk about documenting job planning. Documentation is very important. Without documentation, there is no history to base on exactly what happened. Documentation is very important. It is documenting the expectations of employee and employer into working schedules. It ensures that post delivers. It aims to achieve requirements of the contract of employment. Principles of a good job plan. Principles of a good job plan. It should be developed collaboratively between the employer and the employee. It should include all the duties. Workload should be broadly defined. You see, they say it should be developed collaboratively. Means developing collaboratively, it means if it is the timetable, you are discussing with your people its development. You are just not doing your own work as a supervisor and telling them this is the timetable for the month. No, it is collaborative. You include them. Who wants public holiday? Who wants off day? On which day is suitable for you for off day? We can see you are due for maternity leave. We can see you are on a medical leave or medical off days. So you discuss these things with your people as you organize them. Remember, the previous topic we talked about being a leader, leading a team. And leading a team also involves organizing and planning work. You just don't do things on your own. I have seen supervisors or managers who just do things, they just write the timetable and throw it at the people and tell them, you like it or not, you are going to follow that one. I can tell you that one is outdated. That one is outdated. In this age, you discuss things with your employees, with your team. You bring them on board so that they can share the success, so that they can share the achievement, so that they can share the attainment of the goals. You just don't do it because you are the security manager, because you are the security supervisor. And you have seen people who are ignorant in the field, that they just do it and they trample on other people's heads, they step on other people's toes in line of duty in the name that they are the managers or they are the supervisors. That one is absolutely wrong. You as a professional, stay away from that. Involve your people. As a leader, involve your people in formulation of these things, in doing the work. Do the work with them. Be a leader, do not be a boss. Also, importance of work plan. That one is a clear importance of work plan. Work plan is practical. It gives the direction of the work to be done. It gives direction of the work to be done. It is useful throughout the period. It covers providing milestones to assess progress. It is a relevant and well-researched work plan performs the important task of highlighting potential difficulties and proactively offering solutions. A relevant and well-researched work plan performs the important task of highlighting potential difficulties and proactively offering solutions. It clarifies the specific tasks and outcomes that each team member achieves, paving the way for accountability and successful collaboration. So it clarifies the specific tasks and outcomes that each team member achieves, paving the way for accountability and successful collaboration. And then we also go back to time management. Time management. We can only say a few words about it. Time management is the process of planning and executing conscious control of the time spent on specific activities to work smarter than hard. Benefits of time management: delivery of work on time, provide better quality work, more productivity and efficiency, much less procrastination, i.e. I will do it later, and more opportunities and career growth. For example, going back to the timetable, if you plan in advance, then by 25th you have your timetable for the following month. It is very effective. But if you don't use time wisely, it reaches first of every month, the timetable is not ready. You have seen how people run when it comes to Terehe Moja. Nobody has got the timetable. Nobody knows which shift they are supposed to come to work. That is what we call poor planning and organizing of work. Planning and organizing of work as relates to timetable should be in advance. That on 25th of each month, timetable is ready and it is ready to go. This is what we call proper planning. So it involves time management. Proper planning and organizing work involves time management, good time management. It has benefits that include delivery of work on time, provide better quality work, more productivity and efficiency, much less personalization, e.g. I will do it later, and more opportunities and career growth. So plan your time well. Then also, steps for better time management. Plan for what's to be done. Prioritize on what to do. Minimize multitasking. Cut off distractions at work. Distractions at work, especially mobile phone calls, external calls. You find people wasting a lot of time on social media, TikTok, Facebook, instead of concentrating on what is supposed to be done. So cut off distractions. Schedule break time. Always make sure you schedule break time. And then effective time management skills can have a positive impact on your work. Effective time management skills can have a positive impact on your work. When time control is practiced and the ability of things done is improved, makes better decisions, and most importantly, it's the gaining of key priorities. So ensure that you manage your time well. Time management is very, very important. And then summary, what we are going to say, getting organized can help you to be more focused and happier in the workplace. Getting organized, definitely, it will help you to be more focused and happier in the workplace. Organization is a skill that can be learned and honed over time using practical techniques and tools like digital to-do lists, automations, and templates. So organization is a very important. Organized people are less likely to miss important tasks and tend to feel less stressed. Organized people are less likely to miss important tasks and tend to feel less stressed. And then when things are organized, you know where to find your daily to-dos and which emails need to be sent, for example. And then this leaves you more time and space for brainstorming, creating, and higher impact problem solving. So when you are well organized, it leaves you more time and space for brainstorming, creating, and higher impact problem solving skills. Also, being benefits of being organized in continuation, being organized helps reduce stress. You know, stress is a major problem all over the world. Stress is a major problem. Stress affects performance, stress affects productivity, and stress affects the well-being of people. When you know where things are, you can accomplish more without getting overwhelmed. In the workplace, this means you can do more high impact work without feeling burned out. When you can see all your work in one place, it's easier to prioritize tasks and make sure that the most important items get done. Finally, organizing tasks at work involves writing things down. Have a habit of writing things down. What do I need to do? And then make schedules and deadlines. Schedules and deadlines are also very important. For example, when you move into management, you will plan work, you will allocate work, you will delegate some work, but then make sure you have schedules and deadlines, and then don't procrastinate, and then give everything a home, and then declutter regularly declutter. Decluttering is removing rubbish, things that you don't need on the table, papers that are useless, documents that are useless, and then keep only what you need, and then know where to discard items properly, because some documents contain confidential information and they have to be shredded or discarded according to policy. Some documents may be bulky, they may lead to, they may become a fire hazard if not properly discarded. So remember, we have information technology, we have confidentiality, we have these things. So know where to discard items, and then stay away from bargains. Don't go into bargaining with people, and then delegate responsibilities. Don't do all the work. Don't do all the work all the time in the name that you are the supervisor or you are the manager. Delegate, so that delegation helps you make your work easier. And it is also an aspect of training. It is also an aspect of coaching. It is also an aspect of development of the people that you are working with. So delegate responsibilities and then work hard. Make sure that you work hard. You stay consistent. You keep good time management. You make sure your work is organized. I can tell you, if you do these simple tasks, then you will be able to excel work. You'll be able to excel at work. Make sure your team is working in cohesion. And those people who are not working in cohesion with the others, those people who are creating difficulties, those people who are creating conflicts, look for ways of advising the management that we need to terminate these people. Those people who are restless, they cannot work with others properly. They keep arguing with others. They cannot develop good work relationships. I've always said these people should be gotten rid of. Look for employee people who are proactive, people who are positive, people who have confidence, people who have good working relationship with other people. And then your work will be well organized. I hope that we are moving in the right direction with our topic of employability skills, and you can see that it is very important to your career as you are developing. So I would urge you to focus again on the assignments that I gave you, few of them. Do the write-ups, then hand over to Chris, I will be reviewing them at a later date. Today, we are going to stop there, and then we are also going to focus on the presentation number 6, I believe. We are going to focus on presentation number 6 moving forward. So thank you. Bye-bye. See you in the next presentation.